The United States exports more agriculture products by value than any country in the world. This probably isn't too surprising. It's the fourth largest country by land area, by some accounts has the most arable land, and it's a developed economy with infrastructure capable of handling a large volume of trade. But the second largest exporter can be a bit of a surprise, at least at first glance. Coming in at number 2 is the Netherlands, a country barely larger than the US state of Maryland. It's estimated that in 2021, this tiny country exported an estimated 104.7 billion euros in agriculture products. The Netherlands produces 4 million cows, 13 million pigs, and 104 million chickens a year. Altogether, they are Europe's biggest meat exporter. When it comes to vegetables, they are the second largest exporter in the world. They are the world's top exporter of potatoes and onions. And it probably doesn't need to be said, but the Netherlands is also the largest exporter in cut flowers. I'm not sure there is an origin of this success, or really this is just the combination of culture and a few key events. Some cite a famine in World War II in the Netherlands as motivating the country's growth in the agriculture sector. During the winter of 1944 to 1945, an estimated 22,000 people died due to the harsh winter conditions and the Germans blocking routes from small farm towns to more densely populated areas. But the Netherlands had experienced another food shortage in World War I. While the effects were not as severe, it was enough to influence the creation of massive polders to increase the country's food production. These polders were part of the Greater Zuiderzee Works, which also included the building of dikes to protect from the effects of the North Sea. But the country couldn't just reclaim the entire North Sea. Well, maybe it could, but they have taken a more realistic approach. The Netherlands has tried to become as efficient as possible on the land they currently have. Not counting all the microstates, the Netherlands has the highest population density of any sovereign state in Europe, so its land isn't cheap. If you want to be a farmer in the Netherlands, you have to be efficient to be profitable. Dutch farms are constantly coming up with innovative ways to get the highest yields using the fewest resources. But first, today's sponsor. Powerhouse or not, stroopwafel prices have never been higher. Dutch inflation soared to 14% over the summer, and costs for non-waffle essentials are still rising. But the worst part, recovery for normal people have been near impossible, as their investments around the world plummet, like the stock market, which is predicted to flatline next year according to Bank of America. Historic times, but Masterworks has been helping over 600,000 people adapt through it all, paying out tens of millions in returns last year alone. No wonder they've been featured in financial publications like Business Insider and Financial Times, and were recently awarded one of LinkedIn's top 50 startups. Because from Masterworks' office in downtown Manhattan, their team, drawn from institutions like Bank of America and Sotheby's, is revolutionizing art investing. That's right, art investing. Now, I was skeptical when they approached me earlier this year, but Masterworks doesn't do NFTs or crypto. You're investing in real physical paintings, qualified with the SEC, which I've linked in the description. In fact, some of you may have seen a return from Masterworks already. Because just since my video in October, they sold another 3 paintings, returning an incredible 10, 13, and 35% to their investors. And right now, my viewers can claim a complimentary Masterworks account just by signing up with my link below. Everything from drones to monitor plant health and soil, to aquaponics, to deliberately introducing bees to pollinate. Farms are doing everything to get an edge. And from what I can tell, these aren't just massive corporate-owned farms, but smaller family farms using these innovative practices as well. Another important piece of the success are GMOs. Among them are crops that are larger and more pest-resistant than in their natural state. Not everyone is a fan of GMOs, but they may be necessary for feeding the entire planet. GMOs are restricted in the Netherlands, but the seeds of these GMOs are sold to foreign nations that lack sufficient food. More than a third of all global trade in vegetable seeds originates in the Netherlands. The Dutch are experts at water management. This goes back centuries. It was, and still is, a necessary skill to protect the country from floods, since it's a flat coastal country and basically a giant river delta. but their engineering feats have translated into the efficient use of water as well. For example, Dutch farms use only a half gallon of water to grow about a pound of tomatoes, while the global average is more than 28 gallons. This is partially due to so much of the Netherlands' crops being grown in greenhouses. The country has nearly 24,000 acres, or almost twice the size of Manhattan Island, of crops growing in greenhouses. Greenhouses keep moisture from escaping into the atmosphere. Plants can be placed closer together, and crop cycles are reduced. What can be grown on 10 acres of open-air farming can be grown in as little as 1 acre in a greenhouse. Innovation can take a lot of research and development, which is just over 2% of the Netherlands' GDP, putting it in the top 15 countries in the world in R&D spending, much of which is spent on agricultural products. Spearheading a lot of this research are some of the top universities in the world. Plenty of top agri-food businesses have major research and development centers in the Netherlands as well. Nestle, Coca-Cola, Unilever, and Kraft Heinz. While profit is certainly a driver of this innovation, as a positive consequence, the Netherlands is creating solutions to feed a growing world population that's under the pressure of climate change, whether that was the intention or not. The Netherlands' geography certainly isn't perfect, for reasons already mentioned, but it does have some pros that have helped with its agriculture industry. It's flat, it gets plenty of rain, and has great soil. But it's also surrounded by other wealthy nations, and has access to the sea, an ideal situation for trade. Which leads us to the last major reason that the Netherlands' agriculture has been so successful. They aren't actually growing a lot of what is being exported, but instead are re-exporting products from other countries, with the Port of Rotterdam being the main hub. The Dutch have a long history of trading agricultural products. They founded the first publicly traded company, the Dutch East India Company, in the early 17th century, which had a monopoly over the spice trade in the East Indies. And it doesn't look like this trading tradition will end anytime soon. If you enjoyed this video, I have many other videos on the Netherlands that you can check out here. Thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube members, and thank you all for watching.